What's up, what's up? I am at New Smyrna Beach, and I took this kind of unexpected, very short notice, 4-day beach trip with my girlfriend and my good friend Peyton Cox and his wife. And I want to share with you guys what I'm doing to stay lean while I'm on this beach trip. I feel like so many of the guys that I talk to, when I ask them like, how did you gain the weight, or why did you fall off the wagon, or how come you haven't been able to sustain it, they often point back to this trigger event. And it's not everybody, but a lot of guys will point back to this trigger event where they were going strong and then this thing happened and they stopped paying attention to their health and fitness. They kind of threw in the towel for a bit and they never, got back on track. And a lot of times it's, we went on vacation, or we had this trip, or we were moving, or whatever it is. But I think if we can figure out how to not go completely off the rails during vacation, we can be more consistent. We can prevent ourselves from gaining the weight back that we lost, right? So the big idea when it comes to maintaining your body weight, when it comes to not coming back from vacation 8 pounds heavier, is your default actions. What are your default actions? What are the habits that you default to no matter what? For example, one of my main default actions that I do every single day, no matter what the circumstances, is I eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, no matter what the circumstance is. It's not something I implement as kind of like a short-term sprint. That's what a lot of people do with their health and fitness. They'll do a program, or they'll do one of these diets that has some fancy name, and they'll use it as a means to an end instead of really building it into a lifestyle, instead of building default actions. One of the highest leverage things you can do as a default action is eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, there's some nuance here. Generally, it can really be more between like 0.7 to 1 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But I do this daily, even when I'm on these beach trips. So for example, even on the beach trip, I'll bring the protein powder that I'm using at home for my morning protein shake. I'll have a protein shake. I'll bring protein bars as kind of the main snack for the beach or at the condo, right? A lot of people will go to the grocery store and they'll get chips and cookies and Oreos and all these things that are really not that good, but they give you that dopamine hit, and the consequence is just so high with these things. It's really not worth it. So my kind of snack selection are these protein snacks, these protein bars, right? And I keep in my normal protein intake, even though there's gonna be more eating out, right? Like I've eaten out every day since I've been here. I'm gonna be eating out again tonight. Even though I'm eating out, because I'm hitting that daily protein intake still, I have the satiety throughout the day that comes with the high protein intake. So I'm less likely to snack, less likely to overeat, right? I have the metabolic increase that comes with the protein intake, because protein has the highest thermic effect. The thermic effect is how many calories it takes for your body to just burn the food, like digest the food. It takes your body more calories than any other food to digest protein. So I'm burning more calories by eating that protein. That's also helping me maintain my muscle mass while I'm out here. And the muscle mass in and of itself burns more calories 24/7. So protein keeps you full. You're less likely to overeat. Plus, it increases your metabolism, so you're continuing to burn calories while you're on the trip. So protein intake, it's one of the simplest things you can do. And there's really no reason why you can't get in the protein even while you're traveling. Again, you can bring protein powder, you can get protein bars, keep them at the condo, keep them at the Airbnb, whatever it may be. And then for dinner, I'm making sure that whatever I order is high protein, is protein focused. So for example, the last 2 nights we've gone out to eat, we went to, I don't know exactly what I'd call it. I don't know if I'd call it an Italian restaurant. It's kind of Italian-ish. And even though it's an Italian restaurant and there's a bunch of extremely high calorie, low protein dishes at Italian restaurants, like pastas and stuff like that, I got the New York strip. I got a 16-ounce New York strip. I got a steak that weighed a pound. So already in that steak that weighs a pound, I'm probably getting in, the average person's total daily protein intake, probably more than the average person's total daily protein intake in that one meal. We went to a Mexican restaurant last night, and there are a ton of different things you can get. You can get the burritos, you can get the tacos, but I got the skirt steak, right? So even when I'm eating out, I'm picking these high protein meals. And, you know, if the kind of objection is coming to your mind of like, Gabe, I love Mexican food, like I want the burrito, like that's fine. You can work with that, you can calculate that in, you can budget for that. But if you have issues eating a steak, if you think steak is unappetizing, then there are problems, okay? So protein intake is one of the primary default actions that helps me stay lean while I'm on these trips. The other big thing I'll say that's really powerful is centering your activities around movement versus around eating and drinking. So a lot of people, you know, they'll come out to the beach and they will bring, you know, the beers and the chips and the snacks, and they'll just sit around and lounge around, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when I come out to the beach with my girlfriend, we're usually sitting and talking and going in the water and then like going for a walk. That's kind of like a default. We just go for a nice long walk. We get our vitamin D, we get our sunlight, we get our steps in, and we're burning calories on that walk. And what's really cool about those walks is they're probably even more of a connection opportunity for you and whoever you're with to bond, to build that relationship. That's the reason we come on these vacations anyways, to build memories and grow closer. And when you get on these walks, you get to have these conversations. You get to talk about your goals and your visions while you're burning calories. So it's like a two birds with one stone scenario. But we focus our activities around movement versus, you know, sitting around with a beer in our hands, right? So I think those are two of the main things. There are a bunch of other strategies you can implement. I actually have an extensive YouTube video somewhere on my channel. You should be able to find it, where I talk about a few more things that you can do, a few more tips and tricks, especially snacking wise and food hack wise. And there are so many tactics, but again, the big ideas are like, what are your default actions? Do you default to, you know, sitting around with a beer in your hands, or you default to making sure you get your movement in? Do you default to grabbing worthless Oreos that really don't even taste that good as your, you know, Airbnb snack? Or do you keep protein around? Do you keep fruits around? Do you keep things around that are actually going to help you reach your goals versus like put you so far off path that you end up throwing in the towel? So big idea, guys, is default actions. What are your default actions? How can you maintain those basic healthy default actions even when you're on the trip? That's it, guys. Love y'all.